Have you ever had one of those times where life just throws you a curveball, or maybe like a whole bunch of them all at once?
Yeah.
Like about a year ago, it felt like my world just totally tilted off its axis.
Yeah.
I was dealing with some really intense personal stuff. And honestly, I was just trying to keep my head above water.
Right.
And I couldn't have known then that right there in the middle of all that chaos was like the seed of something extraordinary waiting to be discovered.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How often these periods of like really intense personal difficulty or upheaval often seem to precede a really major shift in perspective.
Yeah.
Almost like the discomfort itself becomes the catalyst for looking for a different way of understanding and engaging with the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, that shift began with a pretty unassuming source, actually.
Wow.
A century-old book, a gift from my daughter.
Oh, wow.
And at first, I was skeptical,
Right.
but there was something about this idea of like a great secret of life that really drew me in.
Yeah.
And I started digging into its origins. And it was mind-blowing to see the names associated with this kind of thinking throughout history.
Yeah.
Plato, Shakespeare, Newton, yes, even the guy who figured out gravity.
Right.
Then you have Victor Hugo, Beethoven, Lincoln, Emerson, Edison, Einstein. It just goes on and on.
It's pretty remarkable when you consider that thinkers like Newton, who we associate with like the very laws that govern the physical universe,
Yeah.
were also perhaps exploring these principles of how our mental landscape interacts with reality.
Right.
It kind of suggests that this isn't just some passing fad, but an idea that's been woven through the understanding of some truly remarkable minds across different fields and eras.
Totally. And it made me think, hold on, if these giants knew about this kind of thing, why isn't this like common knowledge?
Yeah, it's a good question.
And that question really sparked this passion in me to learn more and then share it.
Okay.
And it felt like the moment I started actively looking for answers, the universe just kind of opened up. And I started encountering these incredible people, these like living teachers, one after another.
Oh, wow.
It was like I'd flipped a switch or something.
I see.
It wasn't just people either. Even like a random click online would lead me to exactly the information I needed.
Oh.
And within a few weeks, I traced this secret back through time and found people actively living by it today.
You know, that serendipity you're describing, that kind of things falling into place, is almost a perfect early illustration of the principle we're about to explore.
Yeah.
It's like the very act of your focused intention to understand this secret started to align your reality with that intention.
It really felt like that.
Yeah.
The idea for the documentary to share all of this just took hold, and within like an incredibly short amount of time, maybe 2 months,
Wow.
our production team was deep in the process of trying to understand this secret themselves.
Okay.
Because it felt like without everyone on board with this idea, this understanding, the whole project was impossible. We had no guarantee that any of these teachers would even agree to participate.
Yeah.
But armed with this new understanding and a healthy dose of optimism, I flew from Australia to the US,
Okay.
where a lot of the teachers were based.
Right.
And what happened over the next 7 weeks was nothing short of miraculous.
Wow. So what happened?
We filmed 55 amazing teachers from all over the country.
Okay.
And we ended up with over 120 hours of footage.
That's a lot of footage.
And every step of the way, with every decision, we actually applied the secret to the very creation of the secret.
Interesting.
It felt like we were drawing everything and everyone we needed to us.
Okay.
And just 8 months later, the documentary was released.
And as the source material highlights, the response to the film was both immediate and pretty profound.
It was.
These incredible stories started to surface, stories of healing, of people suddenly attracting financial abundance and significant shifts in their relationships.
It was amazing. People wrote in about overcoming chronic pain, depression, serious illnesses,
Yeah.
about being able to walk again after accidents, even remarkable recoveries from near-death experiences.
Wow.
Hundreds of stories poured in about people attracting financial abundance, like getting unexpected checks and amazing opportunities.
Okay.
People manifested their dream homes, partners, cars, better jobs, promotions.
You got a range.
Businesses turned around in a matter of days.
Hmm.
And the stories of restored harmony in broken relationships were incredibly powerful, especially the ones involving children.
What struck you most about those initial stories?
The sheer diversity of what people were able to bring into their lives and the speed at which some of these changes happened,
Right.
it really underlined the potential power of this principle.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just adults either.
Mm.
Even kids were using it to get better grades and make new friends.
Oh, okay.
Doctors started sharing it with their patients, universities with students, churches with their congregations.
Mm.
People were forming small groups in their homes to discuss and practice these ideas.
That's great.
It was being used to attract everything from a specific feeling of well-being to, in some cases, millions of dollars, all within months of the documentary being released.
It's really quite a broad spectrum of application.
It is.
Yeah.
My core intention from the beginning was to bring a greater sense of possibility and ultimately happiness to as many people as possible.
I see.
And the team behind The Secret experienced that firsthand every day, receiving countless letters of gratitude from people of all ages, backgrounds, and nationalities.
Oh, wow.
It really hammered home the point that there seems to be no limit to what can be achieved with this understanding.
Right.
So no matter who you are or what your current situation is, these principles can be applied to create what you want in your life.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the heart of our deep dive today.
Okay.
The book features 24 remarkable teachers.
Mm.
We filmed them in different locations at different times, but they all spoke with a remarkably consistent message. Over the course of this deep dive, we're going to unpack the core ideas shared by these masters and explore some of the amazing stories of these principles in action, drawing directly from this source.
Got it.
Our goal is to share some of the simple pathways, helpful tips, and effective shortcuts that I learned along the way, so that you, our listener, can start to create the life you truly desire.
Great.
Because as you delve into this information, as you start to understand these principles, you might just discover how you can have, be, or do anything you set your mind to. You might gain a clearer understanding of who you truly are and the incredible potential that awaits you.
That's exciting.
It is.
So let's unpack this foundational idea.
Okay.
The central tenet here is the law of attraction.
Right.
The source material quotes Mike Dooley as saying, "Los pensamientos se materializan en objetos." Thoughts become things.
Yes.
This is really the cornerstone upon which everything else is built.
Exactly. And as John Assaraf and Dr. Joe Vitale explain, our thoughts operate on a certain frequency. They're much like a magnet attracting similar frequencies. Think about it this way. If you consistently think about a specific goal, like a new business venture or achieving financial stability,
Right.
you're essentially sending out a consistent mental signal.
What's so intriguing here is this idea that our internal mental state can have a really tangible influence on our external reality.
Yeah.
It goes beyond simply hoping for something.
Right.
It suggests a much more active process of broadcasting a particular kind of energy or vibration out into the world around us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Bob Proctor talks about how people who experience cycles of gaining and losing wealth often do so because their dominant thoughts are initially aligned with abundance,
Okay.
but then maybe fear of loss creeps in,
Right.
shifting their mental frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as that fear subsides, abundance tends to return,
Interesting.
which really points to the power of where our consistent mental focus lies.
It really highlights the significance of sustained mental focus. It's not enough to just have a fleeting positive thought here and there. It's about cultivating a consistent inner environment that really resonates with the outcomes you desire.
And Lisa Nichols stresses that the law of attraction operates with incredible precision.
Okay.
You direct your focused attention toward what you genuinely want, and it delivers exactly that. But here's a really crucial point.
Yeah.
It doesn't process negatives in the same way we do linguistically.
Okay.
So if you constantly think, I don't want to be late,
Right.
the law of attraction doesn't register the don't want. The primary focus is on being late.
I
That's
see.
the frequency being amplified.
So the universe is responding to the energy and the core focus behind your thoughts.
Yes.
Rather than the specific words you use. So it becomes really important to consciously frame your desires in positive terms.
Exactly.
So instead of focusing on, I don't want to be in debt,
Yeah.
the more effective approach would be to consistently affirm, I am financially secure.
Exactly. Lisa Nichols gives other great examples, like people thinking, I don't want to spill this, which ironically seems to make a spill more likely.
Interesting.
The source material shares this compelling story about someone who was working in a really negative and stressful environment.
Okay.
And when they consciously shifted their focus from all the things they didn't want in their job,
Yeah.
like difficult colleagues and that overwhelming workload,
Right.
to what they did want, like a harmonious and fulfilling work experience, the entire situation began to transform.
Oh, wow.
Troublesome colleagues were transferred or left the company.
Okay.
And this person actually started to enjoy their job.
That's amazing.
They even noticed that people on the street who used to bother them stopped doing so.
It's a pretty powerful illustration of how a shift in our internal focus can really lead to a significant change in our external reality.
It is.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the importance of consciousness and awareness.
Okay.
Michael Bernard Beckwith makes a really important point. You attract the predominant thoughts within your consciousness,
Yeah.
regardless of whether you're consciously aware of them or not.
Right. So it's about cultivating this kind of heightened awareness of our own thought patterns.
Right.
It's no longer just a kind of passive stream of consciousness.
Right.
We can step into the role of an active observer
Yes.
and ultimately a director of our own mental landscape.
And Lisa Nichols takes it a step further.
Okay.
She says that everything in your current experience, the people in your life, your job, your circumstances, your health, your financial situation,
Right.
it's all a manifestation of your prevailing thoughts. You've been attracting it all like an invisible magnet.
Interesting.
And the source material even touches upon how some of the findings from quantum physics
Yeah.
seem to offer some interesting parallels
Right.
to this idea of the mind's potential to shape reality.
It is interesting to consider the idea that our consciousness could have an influence on the world around us,
Right.
especially in light of some of the findings in quantum physics, which suggests that observation itself can actually impact the behavior of subatomic particles.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And Dr. Joe Vitale highlights a practical tool for gaining greater control over your thoughts.
Okay, that's that.
Learning to quiet the mind through practices like meditation. He says that even dedicating a few minutes each day to this can be really effective
Right.
in helping you become more aware of and ultimately guide your thought processes.
It allows you to create space between your thoughts.
Yeah.
Where you can then more easily identify the dominant patterns and underlying beliefs that are shaping your experiences.
Exactly.
And then from there, you can intentionally cultivate more constructive and aligned thoughts.
Michael Bernard Beckwith stresses that the law of attraction is a fundamental natural law,
Okay.
like gravity.
Right.
It operates impartially.
It doesn't make judgments about whether your thoughts are good or bad
Right.
in a moral sense.
It just reflects the energy of your thoughts back to you
Exactly.
in the form of your experience.
Yeah.
And this leads to a question that a lot of people ask.
Okay.
How can this be applied to large-scale tragedies where many people lose their lives?
Right.
Like, how could so many people collectively attract such an event?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
The explanation offered in the source is that, according to the law of attraction, those involved would have had to be on a similar vibrational frequency as that event, even if they weren't consciously thinking of that specific event.
I see.
It's more like the overall energetic pattern of their thoughts and emotions aligned with it.
It's important to clarify here that this is not about blaming the individuals involved in these events.
No, absolutely not.
It's more about understanding how a persistent state of fear or a sense of powerlessness can create a collective energetic environment
Right.
that might be more susceptible to negative experiences, even on a large scale.
The source emphasizes that when people deeply believe that they can be in the wrong place at the wrong time,
Yeah.
and that they have no control over external circumstances, these persistent thoughts of fear and helplessness can attract what they fear most.
Right. So it really highlights the importance of taking responsibility for our own internal state
Yes.
and focusing on cultivating feelings of empowerment and connection rather than feeling like a victim.
Now, shifting gears a bit, our feelings play a really crucial role
Okay.
as our internal guidance system.
How so?
Dr. John DeMartini and Lisa Nichols explain that your emotions are a direct indication of your current vibrational frequency,
Okay.
and therefore what you're attracting into your life.
So our emotions are like an internal feedback mechanism.
Yes.
Constantly providing us with information about the nature of our thoughts.
Right. So when you experience positive emotions,
Yeah.
it's generally a sign that your thoughts are in alignment with what you want.
And conversely, when you feel negative emotions,
Right.
it's an indication that your thoughts might be out of alignment with your goals.
Exactly. And Bob Doyle is really clear on this. You can't experience negative feelings and simultaneously hold genuinely positive thoughts.
I see.
Your thoughts drive your emotional state.
So if you find yourself feeling down or frustrated,
Yeah.
it's a pretty strong sign that you're entertaining thoughts that are causing those feelings.
Right. It's a cause and effect situation.
So by paying attention to how we feel,
Right.
we can gain really valuable insight into those underlying thought patterns that are actively shaping our reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lisa Nichols talks about the immense power of positive emotions like enthusiasm, joy, and gratitude in attracting more good experiences.
Right. The more you cultivate and celebrate those good feelings,
Yeah.
the more good things you'll draw into your life.
And Bob Doyle points out that it's not just about intellectually affirming positive thoughts. It's about embodying the feeling. You attract what you genuinely feel.
Right. So it's not solely about thinking positive thoughts.
Yeah.
It's about embodying the corresponding positive emotional states.
Okay.
The feeling is the energetic key that unlocks the door to manifestation.
Michael Bernard Beckwith even suggests a really practical technique.
Okay, what's that?
Close your eyes, focus inward, and just smile for a minute.
Interesting.
And the source mentions that love is perhaps the highest vibrational frequency we can emit.
This idea of love as the highest frequency really resonates across many spiritual and philosophical traditions.
Yeah.
It suggests that operating from a place of love,
Right.
both for yourself and for others,
Yeah.
not only feels good,
Mhm.
but also creates a really powerful, energetic field that attracts positive and harmonious experiences.
So we've explored the power of our thoughts
Yes.
and the guiding role of our feelings.
Right.
Now, how do we translate those internal states into tangible results in our world?
Okay, good question.
That's where the concept of the creative process comes in. The source outlines a three-step process. Ask, believe, receive.
So it starts with defining your desires,
Yes.
then cultivating the belief that those desires will manifest, and finally, being open to receiving them.
James Ray uses a great metaphor to illustrate this. Aladdin's lamp.
Okay.
You're Aladdin. You clearly ask the universe, the genie, for what you want.
I like that analogy.
And just like in the story, the genie says, your wish is my command.
Right.
And he points out that in the original stories, there were no limitations on the wishes.
It really emphasizes that identifying our desires is that essential first step in the creative process.
But the crucial step, the one where many people struggle, is the believe phase.
Okay.
You have to cultivate a deep sense of knowing, a feeling that you've already received what you asked for, even before there's any physical evidence of it in your reality.
That can be a challenging shift for a lot of people.
It can.
Yeah.
Going from simply wanting something
Right.
to a deep inner conviction that it's already on its way. James Ray talks about cultivating that feeling of it already being yours,
Okay.
much like when you've booked a vacation
Right.
or signed the papers for a new car. There's this certainty that it's yours.
I see.
Dr. Joe Vitale adds another perspective.
Okay.
He says, the universe will actually begin to reorganize itself to bring about the manifestation of your desires.
Interesting.
It'll orchestrate events, bring the right people into your path, and create the necessary circumstances. And the source suggests a practical tip to strengthen your belief. Start small.
Right. Start with something manageable.
Yeah, like intentionally try to manifest something minor, like a specific cup of coffee or a parking spot, to build confidence in this law.
So those small wins can serve as tangible evidence
Yes.
of the law of attraction in action.
And that helps build the faith and confidence to then go after bigger desires.
Okay.
Now, this next concept can be a little mind-bending.
Right. I'm ready.
The illusion of time. Dr. Joe Vitale, referencing Einstein's theories, introduces this idea
Okay.
that our perception of time as linear is actually an illusion,
I see.
and that everything you desire already exists in a different dimension or possibility.
This concept can be tough to grasp
It-
because our everyday experience is so structured around the passage of time.
Right.
But if we consider the universe as this vast field of energy and potential,
Yeah.
all possible realities, including those where our desires are fulfilled, could be seen as already existing within that field.
And he explains that because everything is happening simultaneously on some level,
Right.
the version of you who already possesses what you desire exists in a parallel reality.
Okay.
And from the universe's perspective, there's no limitation of size or time.
Interesting.
Manifesting a small amount of money is the same process as manifesting a larger sum.
Right. The difference is in our beliefs and perceptions about those amounts.
The source shares a great story about an individual who intentionally set out to attract a very specific and unique feather
Okay.
as a demonstration of this law in action.
Hmm.
They visualized its markings, and within 2 days, they found that exact feather
Wow.
in the middle of New York City.
That's pretty incredible.
It was undeniable proof for them of the power of focused intention.
So these types of very personal experiences can be really impactful
Yeah.
in shifting your understanding of this concept from a theory to a deeply held belief.
Right, it goes from abstract to a lived reality.
Exactly.
Prentice Mulford was a teacher of these principles.
Yeah, okay.
And he emphasized the importance of shaping your experiences by intentionally thinking about your day in advance.
Interesting.
He suggested that when you think, I'm going to have a pleasant journey,
Right?
you're sending out energetic forces ahead of you to orchestrate events in a positive way. But if you harbor negative expectations,
Yeah.
you tend to attract negative outcomes.
So it's about taking a proactive role in shaping our daily experiences
Yeah,
by setting those positive intentions before things unfold.
exactly.
We can actively influence the trajectory of those events.
The source offers a great tip for incorporating this into daily life.
Okay, what is it?
Transform those moments of waiting, like in line at the store or stuck in traffic.
Right, those can be frustrating.
They can, instead of focusing on the annoyance of waiting,
Hmm.
use that time to visualize your desires.
It's about reframing what we often perceive as wasted time
Yeah.
into an opportunity for focused intention and manifestation.
2 more crucial elements are expectation and gratitude.
Okay.
Bob Proctor says that expectation is a powerful attracting force.
Right, so it's not just wishful thinking,
No.
it's a state of confident anticipation
Yes.
and knowing that what you've asked for is on its way.
And Joe Sugarman, a very successful businessman, stressed the power of gratitude. He said it was a major key to his success and made a point of expressing gratitude daily,
Interesting.
even for small things like finding a parking spot.
Gratitude acts as an amplifier
It
for the
does.
process of manifestation.
Right. When you're genuinely thankful for what you have,
Yeah.
you send a signal to the universe that you're open to receiving more.
You shift from a sense of lack to an appreciation for what's already present.
Exactly.
Okay.
The source also mentions the idea of using gratitude stones. as a tangible reminder to be grateful.
Interesting.
And it mentions Einstein's practice of gratitude.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about visualization.
Right.
Charles Hunnell, in his work, recommended exercises for mastering visualization, recognizing it as a tool used by both ancient and modern masters of achievement.
And what is visualization at its core?
It's focused thought combined with the power of your imagination.
Okay.
You create a vivid mental image of your desired outcome
Right.
and actively immerse yourself in the feelings of already having achieved it.
You're essentially creating a mental blueprint
Yes.
and then stepping into the emotional experience of it.
Dr. Dennis Waitley even used visualization
Oh, wow.
with Olympic athletes, which he called visual motor rehearsal, and the results were amazing.
So they were visualizing themselves performing at their peak,
Yes.
and their minds and bodies responded as if they were actually doing it.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
The source also shares some interesting stories,
Yep.
like the one about Jeannie, who manifested a meeting with Bob Proctor simply by consistently visualizing it.
Wow.
And there's a story about a young boy named Colin
Okay.
who visualized experiencing no lines at Disneyland. And that's exactly what happened.
And then there's the idea of using vision boards.
Yes, as a tool for focused visualization.
Right.
And there's a great story about a mother who successfully had her offer accepted on a house
Okay.
just by consistently visualizing the acceptance.
So these examples really illustrate the impact of creating that clear mental image of your desired outcomes
Yeah.
and then feeling the emotions of already having them.
So we've covered the principles.
Yes.
Now let's explore how El Secreto can be applied to specific areas of our lives.
All right, let's do it.
Starting with weight management.
Okay.
The key is to shift your focus from thinking about losing weight to visualizing and feeling what it's like to be at your ideal weight.
It's about focusing on what you want rather than what you don't want.
The term lose implies lack,
Right.
but focusing on achieving and maintaining your ideal weight is more positive.
Exactly.
The source also suggests that food itself isn't necessarily the cause of weight gain,
Hmm.
but rather our beliefs about food and its effect on our bodies.
Interesting.
The author shares her own experience of both gaining and releasing weight through her thoughts.
Okay.
The recommendation is to focus on how you want to look and feel,
Right.
and to practice mindful eating.
So really savoring the experience of eating
Yes.
and being present in the moment.
Now, let's move on to finances.
Right.
The key here is to focus on wealth and abundance,
Okay.
not lack or scarcity.
Right.
Jack Canfield shares his journey of overcoming limiting beliefs about money and attracting financial success.
And the source introduces the blank check from the universe exercise,
Yes.
where you visualize receiving a check for the amount you desire.
Right, and you really cultivate the feeling of already having that money.
It's a powerful combination of visualization and a tangible symbol.
It is.
Yeah.
The source explains that negative thought patterns and emotions can block the flow of money. So cultivating a sense of happiness and contentment in the present moment is crucial.
Right, so it's not just about focusing on future abundance,
Yeah.
but also about cultivating a sense of abundance in the present moment.
The source suggests affirming, I can afford it,
Okay.
whenever you see something you desire.
To shift from limitation to possibility.
Exactly.
And then there's the act of giving money.
Yes, giving with a joyful heart from a place of abundance.
Reinforces the belief that there's enough for everyone.
When it comes to relationships, the key is ensuring your actions and energy align with the kind of relationship you want to attract.
Okay.
Marie Diamond tells a story about a film director whose home reflected his lack of romantic success.
Interesting.
And another story about a woman who created physical space in her home to make room for her ideal partner, and it worked.
Wow.
The source emphasizes the importance of treating yourself with love and respect.
Right. Embodying the qualities you seek in a partner.
And Catherine Ponder has a quote about becoming a love magnet.
So it's about attracting what we embody.
Now, for health and well-being,
Okay.
Dr. John Hagelin explains the connection between our thoughts and our physical bodies.
Right. The mind-body connection.
He suggests that our bodies are a product of our dominant thought patterns.
And the placebo effect is a good example of the mind's power.
The focus should be on consistently directing your thoughts toward a state of perfect health.
Okay.
Kathy Goodman's story is shared about healing from breast cancer through gratitude, faith, and laughter.
Powerful story.
Our bodies are constantly renewing themselves. And the source says that disease can be sustained by negative thought patterns.
Interesting.
The author even shares her own experience of improving her eyesight with her mind.
And there's the story of Morris Goodman's recovery after a plane crash.
Yes, a testament to the body's resilience and the mind's influence.
So by focusing on health and well-being,
Yeah.
we can tap into the body's innate ability to heal.
Now, when we consider the world around us,
Okay.
the source suggests that resisting negative global events can actually give them more energy.
Like focusing on what we don't want can inadvertently amplify it.
It echoes Carl Jung's quote,
Yeah.
"What you resist persists."
Right. So the idea is to shift our focus to what we do want to see.
Yeah, peace, abundance, harmony.
Mother Teresa's approach to promoting peace is a great example.
And the source suggests limiting exposure to negative news
Okay.
and focusing on positive intentions for the world.
So it's about becoming a proactive force for good.
As we wrap up this deep dive into El Secreto,
Yeah.
let's remember the key insights we've explored.
Okay.
The universe is limitless, and so is your ability to think, imagine, and create.
And you are inherently powerful, a
Yes,
spiritual being connected to the universal mind.
Robert Collier said, "All power is from within and is therefore under our control."
That's a good one.
Focus your attention on what you want.
Yeah.
Let go of the
And
pain,
use I am affirmations.
as Dr. Fred Allen Wolf suggested.
The key is awareness.
Yes.
Being present with your thoughts and feelings.
Michael Bernard Beckwith's reminder, remember to remember.
It's a good one.
And happiness is the foundation.
Right. Prioritize joy.
Embrace your magnificence. Expert speaker.